What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another late night in the BrewLab with me, Lone Fox, your brewmaster-in-chief. And tonight, in the BrewLab, I'm coming at you with a domain control deck. Finally, I've been tinkering with this one for quite some time, and it's one of the clear, obvious decks that you're supposed to have put up at least by this point that I have not, and that's because there were just more interesting things, at least as far as my preferred playstyle to do. But right now, with this overwhelming amount of aggro decks and small creature decks and token decks, we need some nice control brews to keep them in check. And I'm not the type of person who's gonna then therefore skin up a bunch of Azorius control type decks, because they're just really not my thing. But this domain control deck definitely is much more interesting. There's lots more things going on, plenty of cool cards to play with, and I've been having a lot of fun and getting some very good wins on the ladder. This is actually a best of one variant of what I used to get myself into Mythic, if you will believe it. So, without further ado, let's jump into tonight's brew. Xur's Domain. And we'll take it from the top, as I always do, and run the deck through for you guys left to right as quickly as I can, and try to explain some of the various playlines and synergies, and then we'll jump into some gameplay footage and hopefully get to showcase all of that off for you guys, so you can decide whether this deck is worth your precious wildcards. So, taking it from the top, we got 3 copies of Tear Asunder, one of my favorite cards from Dominaria United, and I think once we get the Golgari Pain land, ay caramba, this is going to be a very important card, I think, going forward. It's just really good. Instant speed, deals with artifacts and enchantments. The Selesnya enchantments deck is a real pain in the ass, and artifacts are going to be everywhere in the next set. And then, you can kick it for not that much more. On turn 4, you get an exile, any non-land permanent. So, amazing. Gone with the 3 of, would prefer 4 of, honestly. Then we've got full playset of Shadow Prophecy, and this is where we start to take a look at some of the domain payoffs. This one I kind of skimmed over when I was looking at all the domain cards at first, but it's actually a really good source of card advantage, because it's at instant speed for 3 mana, which is great, and you get to look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the domain, so often 5 cards you look at, and you get to put 2 of them into your hand. So it's essentially 3 mana, scry 5, draw 2. Yes, it's a black card. It had to have a bit of a downside for letting you do that. You do lose 2 life, but it more often than not, it helps you find that answer, that sweeper, that removal piece, that whatever it is that you're going to need to, proceed into the next turn and potentially win the match. So the interesting other thing to note is that the things that you don't pick to go into your hand go into your graveyard, and we do have the Llanowar Greenwidow, which is a recursive threat. If it ends up in the graveyard, you can cast it again from the graveyard. Force 8 mana normally, but if you have Domain, then that goes down to 3, which is the same as its casting cost. And please note that I did say cast, but that is a I misspoke. You're not casting it from your graveyard. If you read it carefully, it says you just return it to the battlefield, tapped. So it's also uncounterable. The opponent can't counter this. It's not being cast from your graveyard like, Tenacious Underdog or whatnot. And the 4/3 flying, able to block flyers with the reach, the trample. It's just really good. I've been enjoying this card a lot, and it's another one that I just kind of skimmed over when I was first looking at Domain, but definitely worth your wildcards. If you're looking to play Domain, I would recommend you craft yourself up some Llanowar Greenwidows. Then we've got Xur, the Eternal Schemer, the namesake of the deck. 1 full flyer. Enchantment creatures you control have Death Touch, Lifelink, and Hexproof. And you can pay 1 and a white to transform a non-aura enchantment that you control into a creature. So then it would gain Death Touch, Lifelink, and Hexproof. We don't have too many, but we've got enough to just make it perfect. Full playset of the Leyline Binding and the full playset of the Kami War. So if you transform either of these into an enchantment creature, they'll enter the battle. They'll become 6/6s with Death Touch, Lifelink, and Hexproof, which is just amazing source of life gain, especially at that point in the game when you can actually play Zur and have the white and the colorless open to do it right away when he enters the battlefield, and then swing with a 6/6 is a great bit of life that you often need to restabilize the board. And you don't have to do that with the backside of the Kami War, because Okigachi Made Manifest is, of course, as all of these sagas from Kamigawa do, it enters the battlefield as an enchantment creature, so it'll just have the Death Touch, the lifelink, and the hexproof automatically, as well as being a 6/6 Frampler. We'll get to that in a moment. So yeah, Zur, just keep it in your hand, wait till the perfect moment. You'll know the opponent might be tapped out, you might be playing a deck that doesn't run enchantment removal or whatever. Of course, they can just remove your Zur. With the 4 toughness, does make it a little tougher. It will require mostly black removal. There's very little red removal that'll actually handle it. But if they do get rid of your Zur, please note that it's not this effect isn't until end of turn or until Zur is on the battlefield or that kind of thing. If he dies, your enchantments will remain, so your Leyline will still remain a 6/6. The problem is it'll lose the hexproof, the lifelink, and the death touch, which will make it removable. So if you've exiled something important with your Leyline Binding, just be aware of that. I quite like just picking off important creature tokens with it, so then if they do remove your Zur and also get rid of your Leyline Binding, that you're not giving them back anything. But yeah, just something to keep note of. It's a permanent effect, but when they kill it, it loses the Death Touch, lifelink, and hexproof. Then we got Dragged to the Bottom, which is my main reason to be playing this deck, really. There's a lot of need for good sweepers, and this is a very good one, but you do need to play it in a domain deck. And there's no, like, I've been trying out all the other ones, and they're a little bit too slow. Depopulate's fine, but I don't, like I said, play much Azorius. It's not my thing. So you don't really have much else on turn 4 that can sweep the board. And usually, if you're, trying to sweep mono red or mono white aggro with a burn down the house, it's probably already too late on turn 5. So Drag to the Bottom, really fantastic right now. And the fact that it's a -X also deals with all the indestructible creatures. It deals with, now there's a lot more Tamiyo safekeepings being played. There's a lot of that Shield of New Benalia, the 2-mana soldier lady who gets indestructible. This, like the Meatook, is a -X effect and just sweeps the board regardless of indestructibility. And if you've got full domain, it's a -6/6, which deals with almost everything except for Elder Titan of Industry or what have you. So just fantastic, and has been saving my ass against aggro. And yeah, one of the main reasons why I decided to play this deck right now in the meta, to see if we can deal with all of these mono reds and mono whites and things like that, and gruels and what have you. Then we've got a couple copies of Unleash the Inferno. When you're on the play, and then, on turn 3, you play a Llanowar Greenwidow or something, then their turn 3, they play a Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Your turn 4, you play a land, you Unleash the Inferno. You hit the token goblin guy and get rid of the Fable in one fell swoop. Mwah! Amazing. So yeah, just loving this card, as well as the fact that it can actually deal with with the Titan of Industry and other 7 toughness creatures. The only thing in standard that this doesn't deal with is my personal pet peeve, the Hullbreaker Horror. But anyway, amazing card, love playing it, and will continue to do so. Then we've got a couple copies of the Sphinx of Clear Skies, just to have some flying action. Also a great source of card advantage. It's a 5/5 flyer with Ward 2. And whenever you deal combat damage to a player, if you have full domain, you reveal the top 5 cards of your library, and then the opponent separates those cards into 2 piles, and then you get to pick which of those 2 piles to keep. The rest goes into your graveyard, so just great. You're often picking the best 3 out of the top 5 cards of your library and putting them into your hand, and it's a little tough to remove, and it's flyer. Just been amazing. We may even cut Jodah's Codex to go for 3 of, but I just did want to showcase this little card, which is a bit of an investment at 5 mana. It's rare that you just get to play this on turn 5 and do nothing else. You're probably going to lose, but if you get it, that's why there's only 1 copy. But if you get it later in the game, when you've got full domain, you play it for 5 mana, and then it costs 1 colorless less to activate for each basic land among types you control. So if you've got Domain, you pay 0 to tap it and draw a card. So just another little bit of card advantage as well here in the 5-drop slot. And let's give it a whirl. Otherwise, we may end up cutting it and going for a full playset of the Sphinx. At least 3 Sphinxes. Then, onto our top end. We've got more removal. Full playset of the Leyline Binding. Like I said, great synergies with the Zur. Often you can, if you play your right triomes out in the right order, on turn 2 you can already play it for 1 mana at instant speed and exile, whatever. It's just amazing. And yeah, that's all I can really say about this card. It's making waves in other older formats. It's really that strong. Then we've got a full playset of the Kami War, which I did touch upon briefly earlier. The only thing I have to add about this is that when it does get to finally attacking the backside, Okagachi, then the opponent is forced to pick a card from your graveyard and you get to return it to your hand, and it gets +X+O, where X is the mana value of that card. So the less, if you've got Tear Asunder in your graveyard, your opponent's probably going to be picking this because it's the smallest mana value card that he can pick. But there might be situations where all you have in your graveyard is a drag to the bottom, or a herd migration that you've previously discarded, which we'll get to in a moment, and then it's getting +7/+0, and then you get to recast your herd migration. Oh, just amazing! I've had some crazy turns with these 2 cards. Yeah, and then the front side, exile on the first chapter. Bounce something. Sometimes I reset one of my Leyline Bindings if I used it to exile something irrelevant at that point in the game, or a creature token. Then you can just bounce your own Leyline Binding to cast again later. Amazing. But more often than not, you at the point at which you cast Kami's War, it's turn 6 or something, turn 5, turn 6, and the opponent will be with very few cards in their hand. They're probably holding onto their last bomb, and you just bounce the best thing on their battlefield, and then they're forced to pick between their bomb and the thing that's important. It's a really tough spot to put the opponent in, and that's obviously great in a control deck. And the last card in the deck is Herd Migration, which is going to help us mitigate that 2 life loss from the Shadow Prophecy. You can essentially channel it to discard it, so you can do this during the opponent's end step. Search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle. You gain 3 life. So not really ramp, but ensuring that we find our lands to complete Domain. Also the life gain, amazing. And then eventually, late in the game, you can cast it for 7 mana, and you get 5 of these 3/3 beasts, which used to be quite terrible in a Meathook standard, but right now, without the Meathook, not too shabby. It can be a win con. You can just have a bunch of chump blockers to ensure you survive to the next turn, that kind of thing. It's been really, really good. And that's the deck. As far as the mana base goes, obviously all over the place, but I've made sure to include at least enough basics that we can go search them up with the Herd Migration. And then, of course, a big collection here of all the various triomes so that we can get Domain as quickly as possible. And then just a few of these pain lands over here as well. Zur's Domain. Let's jump into some games. I hope that deck tech wasn't too long. I hope you learned something new about Domain during it. Alright, what do we got? Ars Divino? Sure. I wish these were, mountain swamp and not just land. Then it would help with Domain, and you could play the pain lands happily. Okay, another one of these cheapy stuff decks. Not making land drops in a 25 land deck is just a bit of a joke. Thank you. I had a feeling. Unbelievable. I'm gonna flash this in when they attack. About damn time. 3 plus 4 is 7. Perfect. Taking a lot of damage from these pain lands, however. We need to get Zur in play. We need blue mana. Of course. That's another 2 damage. Oh. Gain a little bit of life back with the herd migration next turn for sure. Okay, that's fine. Let's go find blue. Didn't want to let it go to Knight. Oh wait, that was a channel ability. It does go to Knight, but that's okay. He's only got Brutal Cathars. We've already got Jetmirs, don't we? So let's get a black land that doesn't punish us. So can we play Zur and activate our Leyline this turn? Yes. Back up to 11. That's gonna be good. Three plus 3. Bye-bye. Then we'll probably bring back the Greenwidow. Heyo! Whew! Tight match. Mono white stuff, not aggro. Trying to gain life and do things. Probably had Voice of the Blessed in that deck. Wouldn't be surprised. Alright, game 1 victory. Always feels fantastic. A little slug of water. Lizard. Lizard. What do you got for me, Lizard? Sure. Every time I see herd migration and Leyline Binding, I feel a little bit safer about things. Also, third land doesn't hurt at all. And a green one at that. Aha, wedding invitation. Okay. And if he comes at us with another one, we got the binding at the ready. That's also a great removal target. Not playing Tamios. Let's go find a red source with the herd migration. So we can unleash the Inferno and get us closer to the Kami War. I'm worried about Boseiju, I guess. A little. Sure. So what do we need to cast a Kami? Black, blue, blah, 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 blah. I think we're good. We just need one more land, because it's also one colorless. Land off the top would just be... Mwah. I think we just... Woohoo! Hello! We got another in our hand. Goes for the plus. Goes for the plus. Flying, probably. Oh, first strike, huh? Okay, well, I'll bounce that adversary.
Retreat isn't a reason.
It's just so good. And the Sphinx off the top. Sure, I'll just bounce it again. Oh, Jetmir, huh? Cool, cool, cool. Bye-bye. No probs. Jetmir number 2 enters the board. enters the fray. Off you go. Poor little Jetmir. I picked that hand to pieces. I feel like it's very good right now, this deck, against this type of people trying to do Naya, Selesnya stuff. I deal with them more often than not. The win rates speak for themselves. You can go have a look at my Untapped. I struggle against like really nut draw mono red if you don't have the drag to the bottom at the right time. Or, yeah, I mean, yeah, like mono blue Delver stuff is also quite problematic. But otherwise, that's a terrible hand. That's not really that much better, is it? That's no good. That is no good. Axe Hammer. Ooh, Grixis Vampires. One of the best decks in the format. Here comes the Fable, and then if we get a land next turn, we can do Fable and the other thing in one fell swoop. Interesting, we drew only our pain lands. The shuffler is so nonsense, man. How many? We've got 3... 14.
I like pleasure doing business with you.
Okay. Play that Fable. Come on. I know you want to. Maybe it's gonna be Shield Red.
Defy me, and you'll lose everything.
There she blows. Now the question is, do we get rid of Obnix? Let's go for the Fable and the token, so he can't ramp further. These pain lands are terrible. I'm gonna take them out. I mean, it's okay, but... the current best answer to Fable in the format, ladies and gentlemen. We need lands, though. We do have a sweeper that will do 3, 4. It's not enough to get rid of Shield Red, so we may need to use the Leyline while this Obnix just chips away at our life. Okay, he goes for the Devil.
Go sow some chaos.
Ah, there goes the Llanowar. So do we drag? We drag. More triomes, please, deck. So it's just Rakdos. Maybe they were just splashing this for some cycling.
Pleasure doing business with you.
I would have taken my own stuff from the yard. I don't think they play any recursion. Unless there's some Gix. Yet again, the wrong land. Oh, that's frustrating.
This isn't
If they hit us with Invoke, we're just dead. And if they hit us for 3 with the Graveyard Trespasser and exile one of their own creatures, becomes 4, and then they are... GG.
I'm the new boss around here. Join me. Or die.
The mana was not collaborating there. We just got all the wrong lands. Somehow, no matter how many triomes you throw in the deck, somehow you get all the basics, even though there's only like one of each. And the pain lands, which definitely don't help when you're trying to, you know, beat a sort of mid-rangey grind fest. Okay, 2 herd migrations, 3 lands. No, 2 lands. Again with these pain lands and basics in the opening hands. Wow, that's bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. What the hell? Mulligan twice. I just cannot believe it. And against a very, very annoying deck. Oh, God. I smell another defeat. But, never give up. Never surrender. Are these the new lands? From the Infinity set or something? I don't see how we're going to get around this. I'm going to try my very best. You have to just throw stuff at them. Roby 1 Kenobi. Spell Pierce. It's got Fading Hope for sure. Ready? I will block. Found the land. That means make disappear or negate. Now we wait for them to cast their Thirst for Discovery or something. Or if they cast the Djinn while it's on the stack, we go for the Shadow Prophecy. Hope they don't have another Spell Pierce, basically. Well, at least we can kill it. Bug off. You got another? I wouldn't be surprised. Luckily, this can come back from the battle, from the graveyard without. Still not finding triomes is so frustrating. If they're Fading Hope it though, it gets exiled. Spell Pierce. Spell Pierce. Grinds my gears. This deck is just bleh, horrifying. Aha! It's unfortunately uncastable for the moment. So let's get swinging. I doubt it ever will be castable with that many cards in hand. We might as well have tried it, but it's so likely it'll get make disappeared. Fairy Vandal of all things. Okay, a bit of life gain, very nice. Go fetch up another blue or something. I don't even think we have another blue. He's got the phase out thing. Doesn't work with trample, my friend. Now do we cast it? Nah. Sorry. Ha! Green is good. That's a lot of card draw, mate. Ah, golly. There's a chance that we can cast the Sphinx, and if he counters it, he'll need to sack the Fairy Vandal. This has got Essence Scatter. You didn't see that I had the mana? What exactly were you doing? Hope he's out of Fading Hopes for now. There we go. Let's see what we get off the top. You need card advantage now, and also apply pressure. We can gain life or make some beastie boys. I'll pick the Llanowar Greenwidow to go into the graveyard if he gives me that option, because then it's uncounterable. Do we still have a green for the migration? Yes, okay. See if he attacks with both. I doubt it. I think the 3 life is more important. There's no way we'll be able to cast the herd migration. Now let's make sure we don't get screwed by the auto tapper. He's definitely got something. Might just be the oh, now that feels fantastic. Come on, Zur. Can't attack now, can you? Wow, that's bonkers. How many cards do you want to draw, mate? You need to draw something very good. At least 2 creatures. Actually. Just 1 won't do it. You need 2 creatures. Of course. You have to block with both of them, or you lose. Yes! There's nothing I like more than beating that stupid deck. I just hate it. It's so boring to play against. Ooh. Good for mono blue. You deserved it. It's been a long time since there's been a mono blue deck that's viable. The best of 3 version is actually winning some events and things. Oh, okay. We've reached the 45-minute mark, guys. I don't want to go overtime. That was pretty spectacular. I'm happy with the performance. We did everything that the deck was supposed to do. We had a match where we transformed our Leyline Binding into a 6/6 with Zur. We managed to use our Cami Wars. We dragged to the bottom a bunch of people. We used our Tear Asunders. We used our Unleash the Inferno. There was an unfortunate defeat there against that Rakdos mid-range pile, but otherwise I felt like the deck performed very, very well. I hope you agree. Please, let me know what you think about my choices. Would you consider just cutting the Codex and getting another Sphinx going? Is Zur worth it with such few payoffs? Maybe better to just play something else. You could even just put in some Fables, as the original deck actually had in it. But otherwise, I think the mana base is pretty good, and I may just end up cutting down these pain lands. They were really hurting us there at some point. Maybe go down to 1 of each, go up a 3rd Xander's Lounge, and then some more basics, something like that. But otherwise, fantastic. The Llanowar Greenwidow, as you saw, uncounterable there against the mono blue deck, really clutch, and also with the reach being able to block the Haughty Djinn. Just lots of good things about this deck. The life gain from herd migration, really important. Yeah, nothing else I really need to add. So that will be it for tonight's gameplay footage. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you all so much for watching, especially those of you who stick around to the end. As you know, you are my favorite people in the whole wide world. I will be... Oh yeah, don't forget, as always, to like, comment, and subscribe. We are climbing steadily towards our next milestone. I will see you all tomorrow with another fresh brew. And until then, this is Lone Fox from the BrewLab, signing out. Peace, y'all.